Bros Before Does. Your hosts, Josh Larson and Joe Chapman. Presented by Primitive Patriot Outdoors. What's going on, bro?
Just another day in the outdoors.
And welcome to episode 3 of Bros Before Does. I'm Josh, the Primitive Patriot Larson. I'm here with my brother,
Joe Chapman.
the Smokin' Joe. Hey guys, we are on our way home from Colorado. It was a 7-day trip, and it was definitely rough. This episode, we're going to kind of break down our hunting experience there in Colorado, what went right, what went wrong. We're coming back empty-handed, but it wasn't a complete failure. So we're going to break down the entire 7 days trip, what we think, what we're going to do for next year. Man, what a fucking trip.
Dude, it's been one hell of a trip. All I've been doing is sitting in the seat just hauling ass.
Yeah, 36 hours of drive time here on the way home. Colorado, back to Western New York. Man, it's, I already missed Colorado, though. It's been...
Yes, bitter but sweet all the way around. We could have stayed a couple more days. Unfortunately, I have to come home for some family issues, and I had a death in the family, so it's kind of shortening up my trip with you.
That, and living out there is expensive, too. Just gas was like $4.39, and food, trying to get enough supplies for up on the mountain. We brought some, but just trying to keep ice in the cooler is expensive, and it just, it breaks you down after a while, too. Being up there, up in the mountains for 7 days straight, it breaks you down.
Hence why you said what we're going to do different for next year.
Exactly. So basically, a recap, we got out there last weekend, set up camp. The next day, we got right into it. We did a small hike. Got into elk like within the first couple hours. It was, it was promising. We got into a small, little tiny. It was 3 cows and a bull. As we were working our way up to the mountain, or up to where I normally hunt, one of the spots I hunt. Just doing cow calls every 15 minutes, and we had a cow respond. We set up the camera, and they were just probably a few yards in the tree line off the trail. And, I was hoping to make something happen. And Joe seen the cows and the bull take off. They went up the hill, and that was the last we saw them. So it was kind of all right, these bulls ain't really responding. We kept hiking, got up top, looking for signs of elk, and there really wasn't a lot of signs up there. So, we abandoned that area. Went to another area where I shot my bull a couple years ago, and there were signs. We saw fresh rubs, but again, bulls were not talkative. They weren't doing much. They weren't really moving a lot. And the big thing was it was so hot. It was 85 to 90 degrees every day we were there. And temperatures like that, those bulls ain't going to be moving mound. They're all nocturnal. And having a full moon when we first got there.
Threw it off, yeah.
That threw it off. They were all the elk were moving at middle of the night. So the hunting was rough, definitely rough. And then our most promising day was when we went up to the meadows and got right into a herd. It had 7 cows, 2 calves, and a big herd bull. And the closest he came in was 127 yards. And I tried to work him. The wind was in our favor, so we didn't really want to move from where we were sitting. We had a good vantage point. It was a good shooting lane.
That breeze would have threw that shot off. If he wouldn't have came in closer, there was no way.
Yeah.
If that thing was at 80 yards, I'd say let it fly. But
yeah, 80 yards, I'm comfortable shooting my bow at 80 yards. I mean, before we left, we were throwing targets downrange, hitting a target at 80 yards, my last pin, so I would have taken a shot at 80. I tried calling him in. He wouldn't respond to it. he looked over our direction, didn't see us, but just wouldn't come in. So then, I tried to what if myself. All right, what do I got to do here? Do I try to move into a closer position?
I know. You kept looking at me. What the fuck?
Yeah,
what the fuck? I'm like, I don't know. He answered to it.
Dude,
I don't know.
Yeah, we were on the edge of the tree line, so I couldn't really go out any farther.
We were stuck where we were sitting anyway.
Yeah, the only way I would have been able to get to him was either go all the way up the meadow and work my way back down. Then you got to risk the wind.
Yep.
So then I tried challenging him with a challenge bugle, and it stopped him what he was doing. He kind of looked at us for a little bit, but then his herd took off, and he went right after him. So there went that opportunity.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. Looking at where we sat, I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think there was any way to work my way around that meadow.
There was.
It would have taken 20, 30 minutes to work up and around it.
If you wouldn't have spooked everything out in the beginning, trying to back yourself out of there to get back in the woods to sneak up around them, because we were so far in that tree log that was laying there, that was about the only thing hiding us, period.
Yeah.
It would have fucked it all up.
And the woods were so crunchy, too.
Yes.
No matter where you stepped, you were breaking sticks, because there's a lot of downfall up there in those woods. So, it sucks that we didn't get him, because he was a big 6x6. It was a nice bull. It just didn't happen. So, and unfortunately, that was the last we saw elk until the very last day. That was our third day, and it's just, the bulls weren't doing anything. It was hard to locate them. They weren't moving.
Oh, that's right. That morning hunt you did the last day. That's right. You did.
Yep,
see
I seen a couple cows the last day, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that's where we went 2 years ago and got into that huge herd bull. So, to break it down in an elk standpoint, the weather was too hot. It was way too hot. With the moon, the phase of the moon, those elk were moving at night. And they were coming out to their bedding areas 20, 30 minutes before dark. So, the area that we're hunting is so big, it's hard to find where these elk are going to be bedding at, because they have different choices, They could be laying on a bench in the aspens. They could be laying in a bowl.
After I realized how big that property is that we hunt, they could be anywhere. Oh my goodness, that property is enormous.
Yeah. The area of the San Juan National Forest that we were hunting at, Unit 74, is roughly 300 and so acres, or 300,000 and some change acres.
Yes, 300,000.
It covers all the way up to Silverton, through Durango. That's 50-something miles just on the one road. So you have a lot of land to cover. But I've always focused on one small area. And in that area, I know key areas. So, I knew enough knowledge to put myself where elk were. That last day, I missed them by, I would say 20, 30 minutes. We missed those bulls the last day. It's like, you still gain something from it. I've marked on my Onyx Hunt app every scrape that I saw, every bedding area that I saw. It was, the hunting was rough. I think it just boiled down to, they weren't rutting yet. The hot weather, the leaves didn't. You normally, when the bulls are starting to rut, you can see the aspens start to change color. They'll start turning yellow. And nothing was changing yet. It was still green. And normally every year I go there the same time. Normally it's great hunting that week. But, this time around, it made us work for it harder to see bulls. But, we did see some. Joe had a bear tag. We seen a couple black bears. Joe almost got on one.
Dude, it was close.
We're driving back to the meadows for the second time back to the meadows to hunt that meadow again, where we saw the herd, and Joe seen a bear on the side of the road. We stopped the truck. He grabbed the bow. I grabbed the camera. He went up after it, but there was some second guessing moments there where
badly
it just it didn't come together.
Well, of course, I didn't know that. I've been trying to hunt these things for this long, and then one of your friends that obviously lived there lets me know, hey, you could have just did it anyhow. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, bear are technically 3/4 of the way blind. I'm
they if you're standing in front of them and you pull your bow directly in front of your body and draw back,
they can't see you.
They can't really see you because, one, you're not making a bigger silhouette. You know, if you were to take your bow to the side and draw it, now
You got that big silhouette. It's
yep.
like, whoa, there's something right there moving.
Yep.
I can see it. Yep. I never knew that. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot in the last 8 days, dude.
Oh yeah. It was just definitely worth the trip. You know, every time I go, even if I don't get anything, I still bring something back with me, whether it be more knowledge, memories. You know, memories will last a lifetime. You know, it's just you know, you get an animal, yeah, you eat it. A couple years later, that meat's gone. You know, you might have a rack on the wall, but the memories that you share while you're out there.
Speaking of memories, what? So you could take people up to your spot and watch the emotions go through their body when they see the view?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a spot that everybody I take to Colorado, there's a spot on the mountaintop. It's about an hour and a half hike up. You're going up to about 11,000 feet, and then you just see 4 miles, hundreds of miles that you can see up there. And it's breathtaking. When you're staying up there, it brings you back to it doesn't bring you back to reality. It kind of takes you out of reality.
It makes you do a lot of thinking, because let me tell you what, my brother watched me cry. I stood there for about 40 minutes crying, and my brother knows I am not a very emotional person. I don't have a lot of feeling like that when it comes to that shit. But that definitely worked. Holy shit. I was busting up for a little bit on it. That's for sure.
It's just a different, you know, it's a whole different experience. It's just when you're from Western New York and you don't get to see the mountains like that, it takes you away from reality. But breaking it down, I think so some tips for next year for elk hunting is
bigger generator for sure.
Yeah, we definitely, you know, we'll get into the whole preparation and camping and all that stuff. So, like, in regards to elk hunting, I'm definitely hitting the slopes.
Yes.
I went back to the slopes the last day. I wish I would have went there a little bit earlier.
And we were thinking about it.
We were thinking about it, but I just said, you know, hunting the slope side's hard because you're at Purgatory Resort. There's a lot of mountain bikers, a lot of people that like to enjoy outdoor sports, like mountain biking, hiking, and stuff like that. So the slopes can be tricky, especially during a long weekend like Labor Day. And we've seen a lot of freaking people up there. But I kind of wish I would have went in there a few days earlier than what I did. Because when I got in there, man, I got down to that particular spot. So I started up at the very top of the mountain, and I worked my way down into the aspens. 2 years ago, I worked my way up from the valley into the aspens, and it kind of bit me in the ass because the elk were already up high. This year around, I decided to work my way up, going down. And fuck, dude, I got in the woods and I already seen elk up high. I was like, shit, maybe I should have came up from the bottom. Either way, it's a bad hike. I mean, it's steep. Freaking Joe picked me up in the truck and I was almost dead. I was freaking dying. My legs are burning because it's steep grade. I mean, you are grabbing trees as you're working your way down. Same thing if you were going up. You're grabbing trees, pulling your way up. It's just a fucking bitch of a hike.
Pick you up. I almost had to grab the shovel or the gurney to scoop you up. You were laying on the side of the road in the ditch, gasping for air, and your body was hurting. He goes, yeah. I finally found my hike that kicked my ass. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that whooped my ass, but it was worth it. Like, I mean, when I got into those aspens, last year there was a few scrapes and rubs. That was it. This year, whatever bull is in there, he had that fucking place tore the fuck up. I counted 7 or 8 rubs on the tree. There's a freaking freshly hit wallow. It wasn't big, but you could tell where he had been tearing it up with his fucking antlers. So, like, I knew that's 2 times in a row that I've been there, 2 different hunts where that place has been ripped apart. And you could see where the elk were laying, where the grass was still dry and the grass around them was wet with dew. So I had just missed those. The fucking poop that I saw was still steaming, so I would say 30, 40 minutes I missed them. You know, and that was a decent sized herd that was in there.
Reported ahead on I-90 East.
Of course, Ohio. If you drive through Ohio, definitely keep the speed limit because Ohio State Police are everywhere. They're like a mosquito in a swamp. They're fucking everywhere in Ohio.
I was going to say, every state I got to haul ass through, I did about 75 to 80 the whole way.
Yep. So, you know, I try to reiterate when it comes to elk hunting, if you're going to go out, focus on your key areas, you know, find where areas are and learn the surrounding area of that area, like your water sources, your aspens. Aspens are a great source for food for the elk because more light goes in there, the grass is greener and more lush. Try to find those trails where they're going to be going to their bedding areas and hunt those at night. But everything I tried to do, everything I've learned, it just didn't come together this year. It sucks. But you know that I focused on the key areas. We saw elk. It just didn't get a good opportunity to shoot one. And archery is definitely a little bit harder. You know, normally I go for muzzleloader. This year I got an archery tag instead of muzzleloader. If I would have had a muzzleloader tag, that would have been a dead elk.
Oh yes,
all day long.
Reported ahead on I-90 East.
So, you know, in the elk standpoint, it just didn't work out for us this year. You know, it sucks going home eating tag soup, but hey, you know what? I learned a little bit more. We hit a new area this year, actually.
yes.
So we were given some intel from some friends that lived there about an area that had a really decent sized herd. The hike was brutal. And we would have kept hunting in that area, but we got caught up in a fucking nasty thunderstorm. I mean, we were watching lightning strike trees, you know, on the ridge that we were standing on. So we got out of there, got it back to the truck as fast as we could, and just kind of laid low until that storm passed. I ain't gonna lie, that got my adrenaline going, dude. That was a little sketchy, being caught up in a thunderstorm up in the Rockies. You know,
Loudest thunder I've ever heard crack.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, was that loud. Of course, it does echo through the valley and the canyons like that, but
yeah, but when you see the lightning and the thunder is instantaneous, you know it's close.
Yeah.
You know it's fucking close.
Yeah, there ain't no 13,000 feet in between of time to, oh, look, at lightning, then it finally thundered.
Yeah.
No, it's now.
Yep. So, another aspect on, you know, kind of recapping is the whole camping experience. You know, we prepared as much as we could, but you still gotta prep and think about things that you might not think about. You know, definitely make sure you have a lot of ice. Make sure you got heat. You know, we had a generator. At first, we had a propane heater up there, but the propane heater wasn't working that well because, one, when you're that high up, the oxygen air level mixture isn't normal like to what we're used to down below. And that propane's the same way, so it's not going to burn normally like it does at normal altitudes. So we ended up having to go to Walmart, getting an electric heater, because it was 30 degrees at night in that tent. It was cold. You know, it was. Yeah, I mean, we were watching our breath, sleeping.
Hey, Josh, look at that. Oh my goodness, it is cold tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure is.
So definitely prep. You know, you make sure you have enough, you know, equipment to get yourself through a week of hunting. If you plan on hunting out of a tent like we did, we have friends that do it out of the condo. They stay down below in the mountain in the condo. They don't have to bring the gear like we had to bring. So definitely make sure you have enough supplies. Definitely have enough water. You know, because up there it might not be as hot as you think. You know, but you're still hiking. You're still draining yourself. You need to stay hydrated up there.
Definitely. The air is really dry up there.
The air is dry. I mean, every night we were waking up with Rice Krispie treats in our nose, or fucking corn flakes, whatever you want to refer it to.
Yeah, they were crunchy, sticky, and sucked.
Yeah, blowing out blood. Just because it was so dry in the air. But man, dude, I miss it. But it's good to go home. It's good to go home. 7 days. That mountain will make you or break you. And if you ain't paying attention, I mean, one wrong turn, you're fucked. Well, while we were out there, they've been looking for a missing hiker.
Yes.
You know, the day we got out there, this guy went missing. They still haven't found him, and it's been 10 days now.
Oh, yeah.
They still haven't found the poor guy. Hopefully they do find him. Hopefully he's alive.
Not chewing up by anything.
But up there, man, it's unforgiving. It's unforgiving territory. So you got to make sure that you're prepared for anything that can get thrown your way. Shit, a snowstorm could pop up like that, and we had that on the way home. We hit a snowstorm on the way home up on the higher elevation.
It was actually snowing where we were hunting on the way out the last day.
Yeah. There's a dead deer. Poor little doe. So, I mean, definitely bring extra warming layers. always pack extra socks with you. You never know if you're going to get wet. And if you're way out there and your feet get wet, that could be a bad day. One, your feet could just stay blistery, and now you're getting what they call trench foot, where your soles of your feet are pretty much sliding off because your feet are wet and you're hiking. So bring extra socks, extra clothing in case you get rained on. I always bring a poncho, but I also pack a trash bag in my pack just in case it rains. If I got to make a makeshift shelter to stay dry, I will. So I always try to bring a couple big black trash bags just to stay dry in case I need to put my bag in it, my camera equipment. These are things you might not think about. So anyway, that was we learned a lot. Joe definitely learned a lot. Showing him different patterns and wallows and stuff like that.
Dude, like I learned so much this week about. I never knew a lot of this at all. It was definitely a wonderful experience to learn it. That's for sure. Now I'm hooked and I'm going next year.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be prepping to go next year again. We'll do things a little bit differently next year, I think.
We are definitely getting a bush tent with a wood stove in it because them things are scary.
Yes, yeah, we're definitely gonna look to invest in a canvas tent this year. We saw a few at Huntstock though. Huntstock was a good show.
Yes, it was. That's actually about right timing. So if we go next year, we'll get the Huntstock. We'll get one then, and then that way we're ready to go to Colorado with a new tent.
Yeah, yes.
Because them guys were giving us a smoking deal.
Yeah,
smoking deal.
Hey, that's another idea for another podcast, like a Huntstock recap.
Oh yes,
I think that.
Yes,
I think that might just be our next podcast. Actually,
that was really fun. That was.
But Colorado, it was just definitely. I can't reiterate it enough. I mean, you got to prep for these hunts. Learning how to call an elk, even though it didn't work this time. But when you guys go, if you're listening there and you plan on doing an elk hunt,
go a little later in the season. They might bugle a little bit better for you.
That's the thing. Like, I've always went during muzzleloader season, which is 1 week after archery starts. And just as we were leaving, the activity started picking up. So, that archery season, that first week, maybe hold off. If you want to go archery, go for it, but maybe hold off because you can hunt archery during muzzleloader season. Just wait that second week of September to give the bulls a little bit more time to get into their rutting phase. Because right now the bulls are locked in. They're not moving.
That's the J, ain't it? Yeah, that's
the Flying J.
That's where we're going.
So, we did see some cats, a couple cats. So, definitely when you're going out there at night, it's definitely best to hunt with at least another person. That way you have an extra set of eyes in case a cat does try to come up on you.
I always got your six when we walk out.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. And I try to leave the woods at night without a headlamp. I try to. But definitely have it handy because shit, dude, a cat can come up on you at any moment.
It happened to us.
It happened to Missy a couple years ago. She actually had to throw her backpack down and the people that they were with had to fire a few shots at it. It's just that's cat country, man. Where we were hunting in the meadows, there was a biologist and a researcher researching cats. So we know we were around the cats. We're getting ready to get off here at the exit. Just one last stop before we hit home, and there's the Erie, Pennsylvania sign right there. So that's green light.
Close to civilization.
Yep, we're almost home. Man, it was definitely a ride.
Hey, I made good timing though.
Yeah, you do.
I've been hammering down.
Yep. Another thing that I want to talk about when you're going on these trips, if you plan on driving like us,
proceed to the route.
Shut up, GPS. Definitely make sure you have extra cash in case something happens. So, our truck had some mechanical issues on the way there. We had to stop at an O'Reilly's and get parts, and then Joe had to fix it on the side of a mountaintop. Good thing Joe's a great mechanic here. If you're one of our listeners from Western New York and you ever need some work done, let my brother know. He's a damn good mechanic.
Yeah, that was actually refreshing to do a brake job on the side of the mountain. You want to know why? Because I wasn't in the shop like I am at home.
Yeah,
I got people coming in and out, asking a million questions. This, that. You got TJ going off. You gotta get this done before you go. You got. Oh, by the way, take care of that. And it's like, I was on the side of the mountain, like
drinking
wow.
a Rocky Mountain Coors Light,
Right.
just fucking
Yes, I was.
changing the brakes, man.
Yep.
Joe had to do a rotor, caliper, and brake exchange up there on our left front tire. But that's something you got to prep for.
Good thing I brought tools.
Yeah, good thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Bring tools in case you have to do some work like that. I mean, if you're not mechanically inclined, like myself, I'm not a mechanic.
That's why you bring me.
Yep. You might have to make sure you have AAA in case something like that happens. But like for us, I had Joe here. I know he could fix almost anything. So thank God that he brought his tools and we were able to get to a parts store to get those parts and change everything out. So that's just things that you might not look at when you're planning a trip like Colorado or wherever you might hunt. You might be going on a bear hunt in Maine for a week.
Right.
Same thing. These long hunts.
That's coming soon, actually.
Yeah.
I definitely got to go with them and hook up with them guys because I really want to do that.
Yep.
If I can't land me a bear in our season this year, I'm calling them guys from Maine because they got a really high success rate.
Yeah. Or our boys in Wyoming, Seth and Tate,
Or that.
they know a good spot in Alberta. That'd be a sweet hunt too.
Yes, Alberta. Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be cool.
So, we already kind of talked about how the elk hunting went. Some camping, ideas. I can't stress enough about preparation. We kind of rush things last minute because of work. I've been working my ass off. Joe's been working his ass off.
Yeah, we got through some curveballs, but damn, a good thing we were prepared for it. Pretty much. I mean, if not, we would have been screwed.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we would have been screwed.
It was it's a rough trip, man. It's a good trip, but it's a rough one.
It's long.
People like back home will almost be nice to go on vacation. Fuck, I need a vacation from this vacation because I'm freaking drained.
2 days. I'm not doing nothing. As soon as I get home,
I gotta be at work. I gotta be at work tomorrow at fucking 7:00 in the morning.
We will be home this evening, and I will be off for 2 days for sure.
Yep. Now, speaking of bros before does, look at that. Wow.
That's why I pointed
She's a
it out
hottie.
for you.
She's a hottie.
That's why I pointed it out
She's a
for
hottie.
you, kid. Better go drop a card.
You want to be on TV? But we're gonna stop here in this Flying J. We'll be back in a few minutes, actually. So before we go, just thank our sponsors. We got Huntworth Camo,
Dead Downwind,
Dead Downwind, Tinks. That Tinks Earth was definitely an awesome cover scent to have up there.
Yes.
Because of the area that we're in, the pine, the fresh dirt. So we used a lot of Tinks Earth smell or Earth scent for our cover scent. So
I couldn't make up my mind because I kept grabbing my Dead Downwind too. Like after I get done smoking a cigarette and stuff, I like Dead Downwind my hand, my face, and everything.
yeah, I'll use the Dead Downwind to eliminate the scent, and then I use the cover scent from Tinks.
Oh, we know.
Yep.
You already sent it to Dead Downwind when you were using it for deodorant in the tent. You come out stinking.
Yeah, we made some funny TikToks out there.
Yes, we have.
So, and these are our hunting-based sponsors here that we'd like to thank. We have a lot of fishing sponsors that we'd also like to thank too. If you're in the Western New York area and you're a fisherman, definitely check out Killam Custom Baits. Akuma, thank you guys. And
Whitetail Forensic, thank you very much.
Whitetail Forensics is
Let me
a
tell you
camouflage that we met up with these guys at Huntstock, and it was a goofy looking camo. I was like, what the fuck? And that's what their logo is WTF camo. What the fuck camo? But it's Whitetail Forensics camo. Check them out. They've designed this camo based off how deer see. And we put it to the test, and we had mule deer actually coming right up to us. Like, I don't know, it was weird. I've never had mule deer. That's what we feel like.
It had to have been, because if I was standing there in a regular t-shirt and jeans, that thing would have been hooking and booking.
Yeah, it was just strange. Like, they were kind of checking us out, not knowing what we were, standing there in the tree line, and I'd like to think it was the camo, but we're going to test that out when we get back to New York in our whitetail season.
Yes, we are.
We'll be back at you here once we leave this truck stop. We're going to go in there, grab some drinks. We'll be back at you guys. Stay tuned. And we're back. We just took a small break at a truck stop on the way home. Grabbed some food, grabbed some drinks. So we are back on the road. We got about an hour and a half, 2 hours left of drive time until we are back home. It's a little recap of the first part. We talked about some elk hunting. What went right, what was going on, talked about camping, driving, and stuff like that. So I kind of want to get into like the off season about our Colorado elk hunt. So now that we're done elk hunting for the year, and we're getting ready to roll into whitetail season, some things that we want to prep for next year is, kind of redefine our area that we hunted in. Go through everything that we saw this year and scout it out. Rubs, wallows, stuff like that. Kind of want to focus on an area for next year. I'm pretty determined that I think the slope side is where we should focus our efforts next year. The meadows are great. I know you're always going to see elk in the meadows.
It is a bitch to get back in there.
It's terrible. The road is so fucking rough, man. I mean, Joe had to get out and actually guide me over some rocks. So the meadow's great, but it's going to be a motherfucker to get an elk out of there, even if you get one. The drive back, it's an hour drive there, so that's an hour that you're wasting just driving to that area. So I think we should abandon the meadows and use that as a last resort.
Yes.
The sign's there. We saw the herd, but it's just... But they say, the farther into the forest you go is where you're going to see the bigger bulls. There's less pressure. But then, having said that, I've seen one of the biggest bulls of my life there at the slopes, and after seeing the signs this year, I think that bull is still there. I don't think anybody's gotten him. I think that's the same bull. One, because his chuckles. Ron said he heard him chuckle that morning. I heard him chuckle when I was hunting there 2 years ago. If that's the same bull, that's a big fucking bull. And judging by those rubs on those trees, man, that one was 12 feet tall.
I wish I would have went with you, but I was trying to pack up camp, so that way there was two things getting done at once because it was our last day, so...
Yep, so I think, in the off season, I'm gonna look at the areas, see where I've seen the most signs and kind of focus all of our efforts. Hey, there's Pennsylvania sign. We're back to Pennsylvania. Next stop is New York home. And just redefine those areas. Maybe do some research on the maps and see where the water sources are going. If I can determine where the closest water source is, maybe I can find a few more wallows. Mark it on my Onyx map and on my physical map. Like I said before, always carry a copy of a physical map, a paper copy, and have all your spots there, so that way you kind of, in case your electronics fail, you do know.
Don't always rely on electronics like a lot of people like to do these days, because it's going to leave you screwed, is what it's going to do.
Yep. Learn how to read a map.
Always have that plan B in that situation.
Another key thing, kind of going back with the missing hiker thing, if you're there with other people, let them know where you're going to be at. Maybe screenshot the area of where you're hunting and send it to a friend. They're like, hey, this is where I'm going to be hunting today. That way, if no one hears from you, they can actually focus their efforts and search for you in that area that you told them.
Always make sure you got someone knowing where you're at if you're going out there, that's for sure.
That's even back home, too. You don't think about it back home, but something could happen to you back home. You could have a fucking heart attack. You never know. So that's something that, I've always tell someone where I'm going to be hunting. Hey, it might be a friend or a relative, like, hey, just letting you all know I'm going to be hunting Warren today, my spot in Warren. So, just something to think about when you're hunting. But for next year, we definitely want to redefine. I think the campsite that we were at, try to get that same area next year.
The view was amazing.
The view,
every morning.
but the cell phone service is nice, because then you can send text messages out and tell people where you're at. Like, hey, I'm going to be here.
Right.
But definitely, for next year, we got to improve our campsite. Get the canvas tent. I think the canvas tent would be nice because it's easy to pack up. That way we're not bringing two tents. We had a sleeping tent, a kitchen tent. The canvas tent, you can set everything up inside there.
Yeah.
One, because you got actual walls. The tents, they're nice, but the canvas tent keeps heat in. It's nice and warm, especially with the wood stove.
Yeah, if we do, it's going to be one with the wood stove, because that's just the ultimate ticket right there.
Yes. So, yeah, it's... Maybe do some research in the weather and patterns and see
what a better time of the season is. Would be for
it's hard to judge that, though. It's because the weather up there could change at any moment. But it's just I kind of wish we would have came out a week later. just due to the weather. So, is that car gonna let you through? Yep, you're good. I definitely want to. I want to go back and kind of redefine our areas where we hunted. September the second week of September, because I've always had luck the second week of September. This year we went the first week and it just...
Yeah, that was rough.
It was rough. It was still
hot.
It was way too hot.
We'd leave in the morning all geared up because it was cold. And then by 11 o'clock, we're in the middle of the woods about stripping and throwing our clothes in the backpack except for to keep camo on.
Yeah, I mean, 85, 89 degrees is the average up there. And God damn, it was hot.
It's dry. It's dry.
Yeah. So, ooh, look, a bunch of old classic cars. So I'm pretty, I'm not too upset about this year's trip. Being able to learn some more areas that we hunted. Relay Creek, man, I kind of want to hit that and kind of learn that area a little bit more. Yeah, it's a motherfucker getting in there, but
yeah.
The Aspens, dude. If we would have went on the other side of the ridge, I think we would have gotten to that big herd. I honestly think we would have gotten that herd. John did.
Right.
They just didn't get a good shot at it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron said that elk was tearing down trees 5 inches in diameter. So that's a big freaking bull.
It's incredible what they crush down with them antlers.
Yeah. Just looking at a fucking pine tree.
Yeah.
What they do to the
them.
pine trees, man, just shred them when they're getting bad. So.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool experience. I've never got to do it. I'm glad I got to go. That's for sure.
It
got me hooked on it.
That's how I am. After my first year, I said I'll be back every year.
Dude, I'm literally for the rest of the winter and summer, every paycheck, there's at least a $50 to $100 going to my savings account. I don't give a shit who needs what. It's not being touched. That's Colorado money.
Yep. And next year I thought about going to Africa, but I don't think that's going to be plausible. Just because we can't book. No one's got the money nowadays to go. And that's that's an expensive trip. I tell you that. I mean, I'm glad I got to go last year to Africa. I don't think I'm going this. I don't think I'm going to go again. I might try to do. Colorado's definitely going to be in the works, but maybe try to do a summer New Zealand hunt or something like that.
Ooh, red stag. Now you're
red
talking.
Stags.
I would love to try that out.
But these big hunting trips that we go on, it takes a lot of planning. You can't just decide, hey, I'm going to go do it. You got to plan. You got to prep.
We literally spend 12 months of the year prepping for everything.
Yes.
Between our fishing tournament, the hunting, all the hunting alone just takes so much preparation because we got our whitetail hunting at home. We got our coyote hunting because I love doing that. Bear hunting. Then we come out here once a year. We try to do it every year.
And I hunt several states, too. So
I know, yeah.
I try to fill my archery tags as soon as I can.
This will be my first year hunting in Pennsylvania. I've never done that.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
I depending on where, my target bucks are, is where I'm going to focus. Last year, dude, I barely hunted New York, dude. I focused on PA all last year.
Well, did you see them bucks that we were seeing the other night?
That's my honey hole. That area's hard. It's a swamp, though. It's hard to hunt that area, but the freaking reward is worth it. So that's what,
You got to put the grind in to get it out.
That's where your prep work comes in, scouting. Yeah, cameras are great, but I'll say it over and over again. I get out there and scout.
Cameras. I can't wait to check them when we get
home.
home.
My God, yeah. I'm going to be sitting down there in the stand again, just glancing at night, just checking to see what's out there. We got some property. We got a couple cameras on right now, and we had two decent 8-point bucks, but our area where we live in is Amish infested. I say infested because it is. No disrespect to Amish, but they do kill a lot of wildlife.
The only thing I got to complain about is clean your shit off the road, you dirty bastards. I mean, you got horse shit everywhere.
Yeah.
And back in the day when I had my bike, man, it's so dangerous to ride a motorcycle around horse shit like that.
Yeah.
It is. That and grass.
But, now we're going to get, we don't have much time left to prep for whitetail season. I'm still got to figure out where I want to hang a stand. The new property that we're on right now, there's not really good spots to hang a stand. But we know where the deer are coming in and out, so maybe a ground blind might be the way to go this year. Just for that one area. Now PA, I'm definitely hanging a stand in PA. I hung one up there last year. Got a nice doe. But it's all about prep work, man. Hunting, some people don't have the time to do it. But if you do have the time, get out there. I mean, it's just more worth it once you get that animal down. All the prep work, all the preparations, and you finally get that animal down. It feels more worth it to me.
More prep, the better chances, the better you know your deer, the better you know your game, period.
That's just that thing I like to reiterate every episode, building yourself as a better outdoorsman. You're always room for improvement, and the more prep work you do, the more you learn, the more you gain knowledge on your area. It just helps you be even that more successful and deadly in the woods. Same thing with fishing too.
Right.
You got to prep where you're fishing. Like, we got one more tournament of the year coming up, small one, but we got to get out the boat and start scouting. Where the walleye at?
Yeah.
Which weed lines are they going to be laying down at? So, prepping is everything when it comes to becoming a successful outdoorsman. You just gotta take the time when you can get time. I know me and you both work 40 plus hours a week.
Yeah, between that and gosh darn that kid and woman I got, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Everybody has their own.
Thin.
Everybody has their own lives that we got to deal with. But when you get the time to do some prep work, do some scouting, lay off the Little Debbies. I say that, but then I'm snacking on Little Debbies the whole fucking time. Man, I'll tell you what, I was munching on them honey buns up in Colorado.
Them are pretty good.
Those honey buns were keeping the stomach from growling. So, we're having fun with this podcast. We enjoy giving you guys
something to listen to anyway.
Some tips.
Laugh about, because sometimes we can both be fucking just dumbasses.
Yeah.
It's funny, so I mean.
We like to share our experiences, where we've made mistakes, where, I can tell you, oh shit, I did this wrong. Telling you guys what I did wrong might help you, stop you guys from doing the same mistakes that we've made. And if you're new into the outdoors and the sporting world of hunting and fishing and stuff like that, our younger generations out there that might like to listen to this, this podcast is 18 and older probably. But it's, there's a lot of kids out there that don't have that father figure, and if they can listen to a podcast and go, okay, I want to get into this, definitely check us out. This is what we want to do. We want to be able to give you guys advice, tips, tricks on everything outdoors. I think we've covered everything about Colorado elk hunting. I say Colorado, but I mean, this is elk hunting in general. I've only hunted Colorado for elk. Why? Because I know the area that well. I'd like to expand that, go to Montana, maybe Arizona, New Mexico.
But really, Durango is absolutely amazing. Even if you don't go there hunting and you go down there just to check out the town of Durango, oh my goodness.
I'm definitely going to plan a vacation there. Colorado has a lot to offer, as in just vacation. Like, you got the Mesa Verde, the villages down there, the old Native American towns that they built in the side of the Rockies down there. I want to see that. You got this great Sand Dune National Park right over there. You got Pagosa Springs. There's a lot of stuff to do in Colorado. Like, I just want to go there for a week and a half, 2 weeks, just as a vacation, man, just to look at it. And then maybe do some scouting while I'm there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You got to do some scouting.
Yeah, I got to. Always got to scout.
So, where are we at? We're, 14, 30 minutes, 37 seconds in this episode, this part. It's, bear with us. This episode here wasn't as crazy as some of our other ones, and cussing.
It don't help that we're absolutely fucking drained.
Yeah, we're drained. Now. I mean, we've been on the road now for 2 days on the way back from Colorado.
I mean, shit. I told Josh last night. I said, man, it's 10 o'clock. I'm laying down for a little bit, and I'm getting up and running. We're close to home. I got some family stuff I got to take care of anyway, and I was up at 1:30 this morning hammering down. And still at it, and here it is, 1:35 in the afternoon, and about an hour and 2 minutes away from the doorstep.
Yep, we're almost there. It's ready to see the dogs. Ready to just get Not ready to go back to fucking work tomorrow, though.
I'm ready to just get out of this fucking truck.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a vehicle for another week, but
Yeah, I know.
Now I gotta drive.
Yeah, I was gonna say as soon as the old lady gets done work, I guess I'm out of town for a day or two. So yeah, there's another car ride.
Yep, I'm gonna freaking get most of this unpacked, all the cameras and laptops and stuff, get them back into the office.
Yo, we loaded this gosh darn little F-150 like a freight train, and I hauled it like a cheetah on cocaine the whole way there and the whole way home.
Oh man, that's been a good truck, you know.
Yes.
Impressed with what this truck's
sticky
done.
Sticky fucking brake, but I mean, other than that, good. Because the terrain up there really did beat the shit out of this truck, and like literally it's driving down the road.
Yeah.
It's driving down the road amazing. Look at it. I didn't even touch the wheel, straight on.
And which is crazy. So I'm driving a Ford F-150. It's the 2.7 twin turbo. It's a Ford Lariat, and this truck outperformed my last truck in Colorado. Which
is what?
I had a Ford Raptor. And honestly, those Raptors, they don't live up to the fucking name. Maybe the newer ones do, because the one I had was 2010.
Hey, man, a good old trusty F-150. When you go over and see that dough, you nut on the titty and escape in the F-150. Out of here.
Oh, man, that's what we say. This podcast is unfiltered and raw. We're not here to be politically correct. It's just two guys shooting shit about hunting, hunting, fishing, the outdoors.
It's just two fucking redneck brothers trying to figure out how to fucking just put ourselves out there because we just have a good time doing it, really.
Yeah. That's all this, we're not charging anything for subscriptions. Maybe as we get bigger, we might, for $2 a month or something simple like that. We just love sharing our experiences, and that's why we started the TV show. So if you're new to Primitive Patriot Outdoors and you haven't checked us out, we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're also on Roku TV under Channel 716. We have our own TV show called Lead and Lures, and we film all around the world. Like I've been to Africa and Colorado, and we were in Huntstock filming. We were hanging out with Hannah Barron down at the Great American Outdoor Show in February. So there's a lot of good content. It's not just hunting. That's why we liked our TV show. Oops, excuse me. We got hunting coyotes. Caitlin Armstrong shooting her Ohio buck. Myself was on there. We're gonna get Joe up in there soon. Owen shooting his Gems buck in Africa. Saving rhinos in Africa. So there's a lot of different content on our TV show. And if you want to check that out, our TV show is on Roku, Channel 716. It's also on YouTube. So we release it on Roku, and then we drop it on YouTube. And next year, we're going to be trying to release this new project that we're working on. But we're not going to tell you guys that yet because we're still developing it. But it's going to be big, and it's going to be dedicated to the everyday outdoorsman. And if everything goes well, that's what's going to make us big. That project that we got on the back burner right now that's getting ready now that the hunt season's getting...
You're saying thick and big too much. You're going to get some girls all worked up around this motherfucker saying thick and big too much. I mean, come on.
Oh, brother. Yeah, if you guys are new to us, this is Primitive Patriot Outdoors. I'm the owner. Joe's co-owner here. And, the podcast is part of it where we get to share our experiences, share some of our knowledge. We also run one of the big walleye tournaments in New York State, the Western New York Walleye Classic. It's always the first one of the year. It's in Dunkirk, New York this year. And it's a 2-day tournament. Friday is our Big Fish Friday portion. Saturday is the main event. Sunday is the weather day, reserved for weather, if we have bad weather. That's going to be a big event this year. It's part of the Dunkirk Walleye Festival, which is a event that myself and the city of Dunkirk have started, focusing on Lake Erie's most sought after fish, which is the walleye. We also have other projects like our Heroes Hunt. It's a outreach program toward first responders, veterans, disabled veterans, where we try to get them out on outdoor adventures. We're trying to expand that a little bit bigger now. Last year we took out a veteran out hunting, got him a deer. We also gave away a redneck ground blind to a Iraq war veteran. That was pretty sweet, dude. Like that moment there, watching his face as we rolled into his driveway with that freaking blind, dude. That'll make you tear up, man. It was a good heartfelt moment. We're getting ready to launch the first ever Hunting for the Homeless event, where we go to other states, harvest deer, bring them all back to New York, and then we'll be donating all the meat to St. Susan's Food Kitchen in Jamestown, New York, and all that food will be prepared for homeless people. In this day and age, there's a lot of homeless people. So we have several projects in the making. Definitely check us out. Again, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and we're also on channel 716 on Roku TV. I'm your host, Josh, the Primitive Patriot, and you're here with my brother,
Smoking Joe.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode of Bros Before Does. Catch you guys next time.